Hey everybody, this is Xander. This is my first YouTube video of this kind, and I thought I would join an ongoing conversation by starting out by explaining why I am an atheist. I should begin by defining my terms, because that's always a great place to start. An atheist is simply one who does not believe in a supreme being or beings. Under this definition, this means that not all atheists believe there is no God. It simply means that they do not have an active belief in a God, which means that if you're not really sure, or maybe you don't care, and kind of think it's a 50-50 chance that there's a God, then under this definition, you are an atheist. Some people will say, no, if you think it's a 50-50, then you're an agnostic. An atheist is someone who believes there is no God. That's a common misconception. Agnostic does not deal with whether or not someone believes there is a God. It deals with whether or not someone believes it is possible to know if there is a God. So you can be a theistic agnostic, meaning that you believe there is a God, but believe that you can't know there is a God. Or an atheistic agnostic, which means that you do not believe that there is a God, and also believe that it is impossible to know whether or not there is a God. So where do I stand on all this? I believe that there is not a God. I don't pretend to know. I don't even think it is possible to know. Why I don't believe in a God is a pretty simple explanation. I simply don't think that there is any evidence for believing in God. There are a lot of reasons that people try to give, but none of them are founded on evidence. The most common reason given is the existence of the universe. These arguments are usually akin to the first 3 reasons in the famous Thomas Aquinas' 5 reasons or 5 arguments for believing in God. It goes something like this: that the universe did not always exist, and that nothing can cause itself to exist. Therefore, something else must have caused the universe to exist. We'll call that something God. The main reason I don't like this argument is because you are not solving the problem of first cause. You are just moving it back a step. If you say that God is the cause of the universe, what is the cause of God? Some people, a lot of friends I have who I've discussed this with, say that, oh, that's okay, God doesn't quite fit into those rules. He's special because he is God, and he just is. But I don't see any difference between saying he's God and he is, with saying the universe is the universe and the universe just is. Also, if this is your reason for believing in God, you have no basis for believing in anything like the Judeo-Christian or Muslim God. In fact, if this was your reason for believing, then you'd more likely believe in a capricious, callous, uncaring God in order for him to make a universe for humans where pain, suffering, and death is the norm. But no, the Bible tells us how good God is and how much he loves us and how he created a perfect universe for us, and we just screwed it all up. Really? We screwed it up? Despite what a lot of people claim, science does clash with religion. If you believe in the Judeo-Christian young Earth creation myth, then those beliefs strongly clash with science. Everything in cosmology tells us that the universe is approximately 13.7 billion years old. If you don't agree with that, then there's not a whole lot I can say to convince you. The material is out there. I have always heard it said that God speaks through his creation, that if you listen and look and study creation, you will hear God. If that is true, then God is telling us very clearly that the universe is 13.7 billion years old, which gives us 2 options. Either the universe is 13.7 billion years old, or he is lying. Some Christians are okay with an old universe, that the Bible is metaphor, maybe. But I don't really see how. The entire reason for Christ's coming to earth, the entire redemption story, has its foundation in the fall of Adam and Eve shortly after creation. Why did Jesus come to earth What was there to redeem when the very things that were supposedly brought about by the fall, pain, suffering, and death, were the very rules of nature that caused our existence? However, when you take God out of the equation, when the universe is not focused on humans, everything starts to make sense. The universe is an amazing place when it's not focused on mankind's mishaps, misfortunes, and mistakes. You don't need God to explain the universe. The universe explains itself. When I told my religious Christian mother that I was no longer a Christian, and that I no longer had any reason to believe in God, the first reason she came up with was tradition. That my parents had believed it, my grandparents had believed it, society as a whole had believed it for hundreds of years. If that were any reason, then we'd still believe the world was flat, that people of different races were somehow inferior, that women were just possessions. Science would not exist. In fact, improving upon the ignorance of past generations is a reason to rejoice, not falter. Some people claim to have had a personal experience with the divine. I have not had such an experience, and I think most of these experiences can be explained by other means. But even if that is your reason for believing, that means that everyone who has not had such an experience is doomed to hell by God himself with no hope. Now, you might say that people who have not had these experiences simply aren't open to them, and it's their own fault. Well, if I am wrong in my beliefs, I am completely open to some life-changing experience that alters my perspective, opens my eyes, and shows me the error of my ways. I doubt this will happen, but if it does, I shall definitely notify YouTube. The last reason I will bring up in this video is that some people think that becoming an atheist makes you immoral, miserable, and likely to commit crimes. Even if any of these were true, it would be absolutely no evidence that belief in God itself is true. At most, it would make belief in God desirable, and desirable to be true. And as for atheism making you miserable, my own personal experience has been quite the opposite. Before I renounced my faith, I was depressed. I felt like I was no good because I had been given a lot of talents and opportunities, but didn't have the skill, didn't have the will to do anything with them that would increase the kingdom of God. My love of science, especially physics, are completely useless in evangelism, which is all that really matters if all this world is a test for the afterlife. But now that I've taken God out of the equation, I see that my pursuit of physics is one of the best things I can do. I can advance humanity. I can make the world a better place without relying on an unanswering deity. I can follow any question without feeling guilty. And that is freedom. That's all.